Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech number 33. Gonna have a little bit of fun today going over the top 10 Return to Ravnica EDH cards. Many of my videos recently have been a little too serious, so let's go over some stuff in my absolute favorite casual format. First, everybody knows the Shocklands are amazing. They're wonderful for color fixing. The 2 damage really doesn't hurt in EDH at all, but these have already been around, so they didn't make my top 10 list. Cards that almost made the top 10 list, though, were Epic Experiment and Sundering Growth. Epic Experiment is an incredible card in EDH. You can cast several cards off of it. It's often an instant win condition, although it really doesn't interact with the rest of the table. I have yet to see somebody cast this card and lose, and I also have yet to see anybody else at the table have a lot of fun once it's being cast. So I really love the card, great for EDH, not my style though. Sundering Growth is another great card, lots of utility, plus populate, so it has a nice theme in it. It's very easy to play in a Celestia deck or a multicolor deck. I love the flexibility of it, and I wish it could have made the top 10. Now, things that did not make the list. We've got Abrupt Decay, which is probably my favorite legacy card, or maybe number 2 behind Deathright Shaman. It just doesn't have enough value in EDH. Most of the cards you want to kill are higher casting costs and the games go longer. Incredible card, just not right for EDH. And Counterflux here is a very good counterspell, but still not right for EDH. There are many better value counterspells when you look at all the different counterspells that have been printed. I love this card, I like it a bit in Standard, and I can see maybe including it in an Izzet deck as one of your last counterspells, but I also don't care for heavy counterspell decks as it is. The charms here made it to number 10, although only 3 of the charms. Charms have incredible utility in a diverse game, and what I really like about all 3 of these charms is they've got the ability to do some really cool stuff, including drawing cards, exiling graveyards, giving your creatures trample, exiling very large creatures also. The Celestia charm here I think is the absolute best. I've scared some people with it by attacking with a giant creature that they thought they just needed to put a chump blocker in front of and then giving that creature +2/+2 and trample till end of turn. Rakdos charm has a lot of utility in the 1 damage to a controller for each creature can be a surprisingly large amount of damage in EDH. And even Azorius charm, which is one of the weaker ones here, the life gain is often very important, and people undervalue combat tricks in EDH. Having the ability to remove a blocker, especially if you've got a creature with trample, can be really, really good. In the number 9 spot here, I've got a board wipe. Lots of decks like board wipes. One of the problems with board wipes is their inability to actually stick, and an uncounterable board wipe is great. I think that this card will see a lot of play over time in many different formats. It's a solid, good card, and it's great in EDH. In number 8 here, I've got Jace Architect of Thought. A lot of people thought this guy was going to be great in Standard. Original Ravnica video, he only made it to an honorable mention because he's really a card that hits EDH really well. That third ability, which I recommend taking a close look at, is for each player, search that player's library for a non-land card and exile it. Then that player shuffles his or her library. You may cast those cards without paying their mana cost. Piece of tech here, take a look at Doubling Season. It basically doubles the amount of counters. With Doubling Season and Jace Architect of Thought in a deck, you can use that second ability the turn that he comes out. This is often a game winner, and nothing makes me happier than beating somebody with their own overpowered cards in EDH. Detention Sphere is one that I didn't think was going to be very good in EDH, because it really is an Oblivion Ring that takes out several permanents of the same name. And initially you would think in EDH you're not going to have a huge amount of permanents with the same name, but the number of token decks out there is actually rather large, especially with Krenko out there as one of the more popular mono red decks, and Avenger of Zendikar throwing plant tokens down is probably the green 0 power creature that I've lost to the most. The number 6 spot here, I've really got 2 individuals, although Trostani is my favorite here. Rakdos is a nice honorable mention, but what I really like about both these cards, although they're not that incredible when it comes to standard, they're clearly designed as commanders. These cards make great commanders because you can build a deck around them. You can create a theme and really enjoy getting into the particular feel of the guild. I look forward to seeing whoever is added for the next 5 guilds in Gatecrash, and I hope that they give me a really good option for red-green. At the number 5 spot, I've got Chromatic Lantern. Now, I know it's a little bit fragile and it's not indestructible, but the color fixing of this card is amazing, and lots of players love it. I went through 4 different foil copies in my trade binder. I cannot keep this in my trade binder. Each time I put it in, I ask a few extra dollars for it, and it flies right out because it is so good in EDH. This card is really inexpensive right now, but I think it's going to become a staple for the casual player. Number 4 spot here, I've got Angel of Serenity. I thought this was a very strong standard card, but I did not realize how amazing it was in EDH till I saw it played a few times. The ability to wipe out your opponent's board is often good, but the ability to bring back your own creatures from the graveyard is purely amazing. When put into a deck that flickers the Angel a few times, this is a late game strategy that keeps your deck with white coming back again and again. I love this card in EDH. It's very interactive. It plays with your cards and with your opponents and gives you some great options. Number 3 spot here, I've got Sphinx Revelation. I'm not sure what R&D was thinking when they came up with this card. It is bananas. It's nuts. This card is incredible. Drawing cards is good. Gaining life is okay. The 2 on the same card for the same basic cost as Blue Sun Zenith as an instant, and you've got a win-win situation for the Zorius decks out there. This card is very, very, very good in standard, maybe playable in modern, we have yet to see, but it is incredible in EDH. This is everything that that blue-white player wants. Number 2 spot here, I've got one that not a lot of people have picked up on yet in EDH, but it is incredible. For half a black, half a green, or well, basically a black or a green, you get a all-purpose utility creature here that also produces mana of any color you need. It fixes your mana, it stops your opponent's reanimator strategies, it gains you life. This guy is an all-star in pretty much every format except maybe standard, and EDH is not an exception. This is my new favorite rare from the set. I still love Abrupt Decay, but Deathright Shaman is just incredible, especially at 1 casting cost. The 1/2 body also matters. In EDH, if you've got a blocker out there, it usually means that they're going to go after somebody else. And if you have the threat to remove things from people's graveyards, including their creatures or their spells, it gives you a lot of bargaining power politically with other people at the table. You can make deals and you can keep yourself alive. I love this card in every format, especially EDH. Number 1 card here is nuts. Super overpowered in EDH. I'm not advocating to ban it because it's not as bad as the cards that have been banned, and I love the really small ban list in EDH, but I've seen this card used several times and it just crushes an entire table because it is an instant. The Overlord affects all players at the table except yourself and returns all of the non-land permanents. This is often a game ender and a wonderfully good card. Maybe even a little bit too powerful for EDH. 2 quick announcements here. First, a lot of the ideas for this list came from the Magic the Seattling Facebook group. It's an open Facebook group anybody can join. And if you want to participate in the group, please feel free to join. We'd love to have more members. There's a few hundred people in the Seattle area there currently. The other announcement that I've got is doing a trade day to try to build a cube over at Card Kingdom here in Seattle. It's this coming Sunday, December 30th, 3 p.m. I'm going to be there with Modern, Legacy, and EDH staples trying to trade for the last 100 cards I need to complete my cube. And I'll do a video on the cube coming up here. The bigger cards that I'm looking for at this point is the Abyss and Nether Void, but there's a lot of small stuff on that list also. It's posted over on the Magic the Scattling area. If you want to come out, make some trades. I want to meet some people who watch the YouTube channel, and I'm very happy to make some trades towards this cube. Thanks. This has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech with the top 10 Return to Ravnica EDH cards. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe.